Hey, I'm back for What a Real Man Isn't Part 2. I left off last time going into the differences between what the world is presenting us as a real man and what a real man really is. So we talked about actors and not actors, but the characters that these actors play and our heroes that we're coming up with now and what they're like versus what they used to be. So we were talking about the difference between, say, Aquaman and Pa from Little House on the Prairie. And there's a big dynamic between those two. And so when you're thinking about what a real man is, what comes into your mind is a real man? You know, how big and brawny he is, how fearsome or brave or courageous he is, or how good looking he is, you know, or any other of the, you know, features that are accentuated nowadays. Or do we look at character, you know, and do we look at meekness and humility and compassion and mercy, things like that? And so how do we get from Pa from Little House on the Prairie to John Wick or you know, 007 or Aquaman? How did we get from there to here? And it's really an old principle that's illustrated the best in a frog. Take a frog, put him in lukewarm water, and frogs are cold-blooded, so they adjust to their environment, and he'll be happy. He'll be snug as a bug in a rug in that lukewarm water. But if you turn the burner up under that pot of water real slow, so it heats the water up real gradual, that frog will literally sit there till it dies. It's boiled to death because it's acclimating to its environment. And that's how we got from Pa to Aquaman over the course of 50 years, my lifetime. How do we get from when I was young, I was the only kid from a divorced home in third grade in class, and now, you know, you're lucky if you've got a kid who isn't from a divorced home. So what happened? And that's what happened. We turned that burner up ever so slowly. I mean, think about music videos. We started talking about that in the last clip. What are we shoving down our kids' throats now? And what are we putting in our own heads? The videos are getting so, I mean, they're like a burlesque show to music. They're just getting so vain, and they're feeding that flesh that we have, and so we're letting our kids watch these movies and advertisements and videos, and, you know, we're teaching our young girls to doll up and get what you can while you got that body and while you got those looks, because you're going to lose them someday. Teaching our boys to be totally narcissistic. It's all about me. It's all about what I want. I'm not sacrificing for anybody else. And newsflash, you're going to be a husband, you're going to be a father, you're going to spend the rest of your life sacrificing for others if you're a real man. So what a real man isn't is exactly what the world is trying to tell us it is. So what do we do? I asked the ladies that were watching my last video. If you didn't see the last video, I'm going to ask you again. I'd like you to put in the comments, who would you consider to be a real man? That you would come out of high school and into college and you would want to meet and spend the rest of your life with that guy. And what are the things in your mind that make a real man? Because we want to hit this from a reality. And so let me know. And other people will be looking at those comments, and maybe they'll be doing some math and figuring some stuff, and maybe we've gone too far. You know, maybe we can't reel this back in. But I've always liked to think it's not too late till it's too late. And when you've got over 80% of the young people in this country growing up without a father involved in their lives, and that doesn't necessarily mean divorce. There's a whole lot of men that aren't divorced that are not involved in their kids' lives. Hey, I was one of them. I wasn't near as involved in my children's lives as I should have been. And so they're going to replace you with something, men. The women, your wives, are going to replace you with something, and your kids are going to replace you with something. And meanwhile, you know, we play our video games and, you know, go fishing and hunting and whatever, and lives are being affected. And that's one of the things that I want to emphasize in this series about real men is the power that God has given us to shape lives. I mean, come on, if we could pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and start making these small course corrections to get our lives where they need to be, what a different world it would be. I mean, they say that the philosophy in the classroom becomes this generation becomes a philosophy of government in the next generation. So if us in this generation can start doing what we need to do and get rid of this stuff that we don't need to be doing, we might be able to change the world. So how about it? How about we take a look at this? What a real man isn't. Well, a real man isn't a narcissist. A narcissist is somebody that's all about me. Hey, look at me. Hey, watch me. This is all me. It's all my thing. I don't really care about your thing. It's all my thing. I'm going to do what I'm going to do because that's what makes me happy. That's a narcissist. They're not a hedonist. They're not into seduction and sultry and sensual and doing the things that, feed that animal. They're not that. They're not selfish. A real man isn't selfish. They're generous. They give. They help. A real man. How about honesty, integrity? There's a good one. A real man isn't somebody who lacks integrity, and they're not a dishonest person. It's hard to say that I'm a real man if I'm dishonest, if I lack integrity. Character, there's an old saying, the character isn't what you're doing while everybody's watching. It's what you're doing while nobody's watching. So how about that? A real man isn't a man of character. What else? I think that a real man can be passionate and should be. It's what drives us in life. And I see that illustrated in God's word. The men of God had passion about what they did. They just had to do the right thing, be passionate about the right thing. So, a real man isn't passionate. They're kind of lackadaisical. Yeah, if I get around to it, if I feel like it, if it continues to feel good, I'll do it. But that's not what a real man is. What else can we come up here? A real man isn't elusive, divisive, I guess would be a better word for that. A real man isn't divisive. They're not making all their calculations and their moves based on how they can benefit themselves and deceive others and take advantage of others. And as I'm going through this list, I don't know about you, but I'm thinking about, I had mentioned in the last video, how come I had to go to Pa in Little House on the Prairie? Because I was thinking, and I couldn't come up with a male figure in the pop culture that looks like Jesus. Other than the people who play Jesus characters, I couldn't think of it. I'm sure they're out there, but our minds have been so permeated by those who aren't. Pa came to my mind. My wife was a huge Little House on the Prairie movies, and see how even that got tangled up. It's just amazing how we have been boiled and basically are dead. So in Little House on the Prairie, that was not a guy movie. I mean, I never met any guys that were into that movie from my generation or into that television show. We just weren't. So why is that? Maybe because from a young age, we were kind of taught that wasn't manly or masculine or whatever. So ladies, let us know. Let me know. And hey, if you're feeling bold, put some of the characteristics you like to see come back into manhood and some of those you want to see go away. And so for just a minute, I want to touch on women and children because they're being affected too. What is the pop culture telling you women that you need to be that has nothing to do with being a real woman? shape, size, hair, eyes, eyelashes. These eyelashes, man, they're blowing my mind. Some of these eyelashes I see, I'm afraid they're going to hit me when they're walking by. Where did that come from? Who programmed everybody into thinking that that's attractive? I mean, I feel like I should pick them up and dust off the furniture with their eyelashes, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who feels that way. So maybe, guys, you want to ring in on that one while you got a chance. Let's turn the table a little bit for a second. Children, kids, teenagers, I know you all want to grow up and be game designers or YouTube, what do they call that, personalities, influencers, and that's the thing now, anything to keep from having to work. So we've got culture training our children not to work. I wonder how we're going to get our crops in if we ever do stop anybody from coming over here to work. I mean, I'm all for immigration. I am, because there's a whole lot of stuff that wouldn't get done. Let's just do it legally. That's my freebie for this video. I'll give you freebies on every video that really are not pertinent to the video. But come on over here. We need you, because we won't do the work. We're just too stinking lazy. But do it legally. Do it legally so that you can be part of the American culture and part of the solution. But it's sad. It's sad. I can't imagine. I just can't imagine coming into this country and having to do all that and looking at us sitting on our couch playing our video games. And heck, when's the last time you saw a grown man pushing a lawnmower? Get a riding lawnmower for a quarter-acre lot. And we were kids, we used to push lawnmowers for $5. We'd cut your yard, and they weren't little yards back then either. And we thought we were in hog heaven if we got a $5 yard to cut. What about car washes? Could we go there? What is that all about? It used to be Saturday morning, the guys got up, had a good breakfast, went out and cut the grass, trimmed the hedges, washed the house, washed the car. You know, all these chores that men used to do on Saturdays. And what are they doing now? I don't know. Harp in on that if you want to. So what a real man isn't, he isn't lazy. We could end there, couldn't we?